the level of our senses and how they work through our system. First one would be touch, because you have to either be physically touched by it. We're talking about sense of touch, like the touch. The other feeling of subtle touch of something vibrates the ground that still is touching your body. So therefore, touch is the closest to physical. Next would be taste, because taste, you have to put it in your mouth to taste it. You can't taste something outside of you, and if you consider your taste buds smelling it, that's why number 3 is scent, because it can be close to you. It doesn't have to be in your body, but it's close to you to smell it. Next would be sight, because you can see things that are far away and you can see things that are close, but they have to be physical. Sound is the most, out of our 5 senses, that is the most distant, because it doesn't have to be visible in order to be seen. It usually comes from a source, but sometimes we don't know where the source originates. Random cases like thunder or lightning or thunder and stuff like that. But those are the level of senses, and the more dense they are, the more they are physical, and the less dense they are, the more they're subtle. And the subtle ones go up to the sound. But then beyond sound, there's that intuitional. And then there's the conscious existential, which would be the intuitional would be the 6th chakra, and the existential would be the 7th chakra. And then it goes on past that to the other chakras, and I don't want to try to incorporate those in anything because I haven't studied them to put them into better words, because I don't think they need to be. We don't need to keep going off into astrological stuff until we start with our bodies, because our bodies are what our minds and our human bodies and our thought process is what created all those things too. If you don't realize that the earth once evolved from a non-language thing, we'll just say thing, being, a non-speaking language being, but it communicated through silent senses, subtle senses. And just because you say something and you can hear it doesn't mean it's whatever. And sound is the most misleading, because you think that if someone means it from the bottom of their heart, they mean it. But even if someone means something from the bottom of their heart, and then something comes along to make them think differently, they can have a change of heart and totally do something opposite. So words and sounds mean nothing. Intentions, when you can understand intuition, somebody can be happy one day and you can tell without them telling you, and someone can be totally depressed and feeling resentful, or you can see that they have bad thoughts in their mind. You can just tell, not because you have to ask. And even if you ask and they say, no, I'm not, and even if they say, oh, he said he thought I was in a bad mood, he was wrong. Yeah, because they're trying to be defensive. Other people don't even know why they're in their mood sometimes, so they can't even tell when they're in a bad mood, or they don't even know when they're feeling discouraged or unhappy or unsafe. They don't even know. Some of them do, some of them don't. There's levels of understanding. Now, I want to get into some of the stuff about the coronavirus, just to make sense of the power of the word and what happens a little bit better. First, I have to say, you have to understand the coronavirus is a combination of things that were already existed in the world that are now called a different set of words. Okay? So nobody knows really what it is, what it's doing, what it is. They're just trying to explain it really quick. And they're getting all out of hand. They're doing these things where they say, somebody told me that they heard it's going to be where everyone's quarantined and not allowed to leave their homes at all, not even go outside until August. And, saying those kind of things and passing them on, if they're just, speculation, it's passing on fear. And the more those words go around, where do you think ideas come for the officials who make those ideas? Other people suggest them sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And other times they have thoughts of worry or thoughts of panic or thoughts of, greed. That also is a big part to play in this. Think about the fact that there's businesses that still work, and some of them are sending things, like with me, for an instance, they're sending the more expensive breads and not sending the generic ones. They're cutting the generic ones and sending the more expensive breads. And that's because people have to pay more for that. And they're worried about their numbers during this time of crisis. We need to stop worrying about numbers. This is a time where you go out and you work on a garden. You work on learning that you don't need to go out and stock up on a shitload of food and a shitload of paper products, because you never needed them in the first place. You need to learn how to go back to the earth. 2020 vision. That's why it's happening this year. I wrote it all down. It's happening because I created this. Not as Dan, but as God. I understand God's plan for us. And this is when it's starting to really, really happen. Not People thought 2002, but that was just someone who was dyslexic, who saw premonition and saw a dyslexic number. That's all. It's that simple. But people wouldn't want to look at it like that. What if he was dyslexic? Maybe he was. Maybe he is. Maybe he definitely is. And anyway, whatever. Those things don't matter. I want to help people, so I'm going to make this into a different video because I have too much to say. And I have to take the time to go through it and edit it because when people don't see you jumping all around, they don't listen. So anyway, yeah.